I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on today's call. Today, I want to talk about an interesting topic, and that is, can you have a tax-free retirement? Now, we're always told, plan for retirement, plan for those golden years. But one of the things that we definitely have to have a big concern for is what's going to happen with taxes as we move forward in those retirement years. One of the big things that's going to affect our retirement is what is the national debt going to do? And if you look at the national debt, currently we're a little over $33 trillion in debt. Now there's a big part of this too, is you look at our US gross domestic product is considerably less than the US national debt. So with all this debt that the US is facing, what is that going to do for taxes, and really how is that going to affect our retirement years? Well, the potential way for the government to deal with this debt, number one, is the government can spend less. Now everybody can quit laughing at this point because we know that doesn't happen. The government, doesn't matter which party's in power in Washington, they just can't help themselves on spending. And they keep going further and further and further on the spending. And to think government's going to spend less just isn't going to happen. Well, that leaves us to the next one. The government's going to raise taxes. So ask yourself, with this debt, with the economy that we have, what's more likely, that the taxes are going to go down or taxes are going to go up? Well, the third is the government can artificially devalue the dollar. And, we see this in third world countries. When they, have debt that's just out of control, they devalue their money. Let's be realistic. The US won't devalue the dollar, but that's something that could happen. So let me ask you this. If you believe taxes will be the same or higher in the future, why do we keep putting money into our 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, and pension plans? Now, let me stop right here. I'm not telling us to not plan for the future. And using qualified plans is a strategy. It's a good strategy, but it may not be the only strategy that we have out there. A lot of the financial talking heads spend all of their time talking about putting money in qualified plans. I don't think they take the time to ask, should we? And when we take into account taxes, are there other options? So if we look at this, let's talk tax diversification. Now, with investments, we're always taught diversify your risk. If you have a diversified portfolio, you're going to have some bonds, you're going to have stock, you're going to have safe mutual funds, some more risky mutual funds. All of that is to diversify your risk. What I'm going to have you think about is, can we diversify our taxes? Well, look at what's taxed today. Savings accounts, checking, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, treasury securities, our business income, and our wages. All of these are taxed today and taxed at the current tax rates. Well, if we're putting money away in our qualified plans, we're going to be taxed tomorrow. When we access those funds, think about this. We've got a partnership now with the IRS. We've agreed that, yes, we get a tax deduction now, but when we access those monies in retirement, we're going to be taxed on whatever we take out. So yeah, you may have $1 million in your retirement account balance, but that $1 million is not yours. A percentage of that $1 million is yours because Uncle Sam gets their cut first before you get the rest. Now, if we're diversifying our taxes, what about tax advantaged accounts? Accounts that we can purchase or put money into after tax that are going to grow tax deferred or tax free. And when we access them, we're not going to have a taxable event. So municipal bonds, Roth IRAs, and properly designed life insurance policies allow us to have accounts that are tax-free in the future. Now, if you think about this, what impact do taxes have on your returns? And look at this chart, just looking at the marginal tax brackets. Well, if I look at this and say I've got an 8% return on my tax exempt yield, which is a high yield on a tax exempt. But if you're in a 39.5% tax bracket, you've got to get a 13.25% return just to match that 8% tax-free yield. And that's not including any investment fees or that. It's just, what do taxes do on an after-tax basis? So you've got to look at this, what are your returns? How much risk are you taking in your portfolio to get an after-tax yield? Or can you do something safer, get an after-tax or a pre-tax yield there that's going to be better? Think about this. If you were a farmer, would you rather pay tax on the seed or the harvest? And most of us, when it's put in, this type of a question, we would always say, let's pay tax on the seed. Let's pay tax now, so when we're harvesting our crop, we don't have to pay tax on the crop. Same thing's happening when we talk about taxes. Should we be paying tax now and putting it into, products that are going to give us tax-free access somewhere in the future? In essence, let's break that partnership with Uncle Sam and now just know that the balance that is in that account is yours. It's yours to use. It's your family's. And is that best for you? There again, all of these are tools. I'm not telling you one versus the other, but I am thinking about start opening your mind to the other strategies. If you look at these, tax advantage plans compared to a qualified plan, start looking at, this list that is here on the left. Can you get tax deferred growth of your values, not subject to IRS retirement contribution limits? And I see that as a problem as we get older, as we become more successful in our careers, our businesses. We have the ability to put more away. Can we? And a lot of qualified plan rules don't allow us. If we need the money early, is there going to be a 10% penalty to access our money? So think about this, and I saw this a lot in 2008. People needed to access money. Well, their savings was actually in their 401ks, in their IRAs. And so if you're younger than 59 and a half, you paid the tax and a 10% penalty. And then we've got the required minimum distributions that's now up to age 73. As you just keep going down this list, it's, can we add more to our retirement? And I look at this, the access to funds for terminal or chronic illness. In retirement, we're always, when we picture retirement, we picture ourselves on a beach, on a golf course with family. We never picture ourselves needing care, needing long-term care. And those needs arise. Are our accounts set up to account for that? That ancillary death benefit is just a great benefit, because we're always thinking of the future. Well, what happens if there's a premature death and we need to take care of our family now? As you look at all of this, life insurance properly designed will check off all of these boxes. And there again, it's just a great tool. And it's kind of a Swiss Army knife of planning that gives us the opportunity to check off more boxes. If you look at our qualified plans and our IRAs, there aren't a lot of boxes checked here. Yes, we get a tax deduction now, but what about the rest of our planning? How many boxes did we want to check that we can't? So there again, it's just look at this. I look at Roth IRAs. Roth IRAs are a great tool. There again, paying on the seed, not the harvest. We put the money in after tax. We grow it tax-free. We access it tax-free. Checks off way more boxes than the IRA and qualified plans. There again, it has its limitations as well. And all of these tools have a lot of pluses. They have a lot of minuses. And as you look at your planning, it's trying to figure out what fits best for you. And look outside the box, plan outside the box. Make sure you achieve your goals as you see fit. I appreciate everybody getting on. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. And again, we'll talk again next week. Thank you.